Hi guys, it's been such a long time I haven't done a video. I just wanted to give you some updates. When Paulo and I studied coaching in 2014, 2015, it was such a great experience. I think one of the big learning was that we don't see things as they are, but as we are. So, how it is important for us uh, to be self-aware and being conscious of who we are so we can intervene and change and grow. And that was so good. So we studied this, we shared with others how, you know, the most that we could, and it was so good. I just felt that in this learning, this consciousness learning, I wanted to go deeper. So last September I started studies. I'm doing a Master of Theology in counseling and spiritual care. And it's been so good. I mean, it's been extremely hard. Um, I spent a lot of hours studying and researching and writing, but it's been so good. And I just want to share. And I'm like, I'm spending so many hours learning. I just don't want to keep all of this to myself. And a few years back when I was taking psychology classes at Laval, it was very good learning, but I wanted to also bring this into how do you put all of this into practice? Like, how do you get into being transformed by all this information? So that's why now I'm going into counseling so I can put in practice all this learning. But meanwhile, I also want to share. So I know there's always a tension for us believers between Christianity and psychology. Often we're afraid of the psychology part, and sometimes rightly so. It's been used not always the good way. Sometimes it's all about the self-esteem and the self, and we know that with Christ we're called to be conformed to Him, not to be focused on ourselves. However, there is so much that we that can help us in our growth, in our change, if we understand human development and how we work. So that's what I'd like to share. I'd like to be able to make little videos and take time. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed with all the schooling, but if I could just share, once in a while and get the courage to just share, I think as I'm learning, I could be sharing also. But one of them, for example, that I've been studying quite a bit in the past few years, and it keeps coming in my classes at university, is attachment. People are around me here, they hear a lot about attachment. So, what is attachment? That comes from the psychiatrist that was studying children that were left in hospital, how they would react um, because their parents were gone when their parents would come. So we are meant to be securely attached to our parents. You know, that the parent figure, the caregiver, that it's the mother, the father, often the mother, would be the person where we feel very close to, that we can come to, and it's a safe place and we can feel secure. So about 50% of children, they are securely attached to their parents. So what does that mean? There's Mary Aitworth that did some studies. She called this the strange situation. And she would put parents and child in a room with a stranger. And then the parents would leave. And often the child, the toddler, would be crying. And when the parent would come back to the room, there's a few things that could happen. If the child was secure with uh, his or her relationship with his mother, he or she would just calm down once the mom would be back in the room. So that's a securely attached child, and that's what we want. But then, if the child, for some reason, was not securely attached, so was insecure, there's like three types, but we call it anxious attachment. So the parent comes back, but the child is not able to calm down. So those are the children that are often very clingy. They cry a lot because they feel very anxious when the parent leaves. And then you've got the other child that, realize that, you know what, I should not be so clingy if my parents doesn't come back. So that child reacts by being avoidant, right? So it's just holding on all the emotions, and the parent comes back to the room and the child does like, whew, as if nothing has happened. And then there's another type. So those are children usually that come from even harsher families, that it's called the disorganized. So they can be clinging, they can be avoidant, they can be out of control, right? So why am I saying this? It's the parent figure we have as a child is what we have a tendency uh, to bring into our relationships. So we come to God, life is good, but then we don't realize that we're also bringing this baggage with us, and we see things not as they are, but as we are. So we put on some lenses and we see things differently than what they are. So if you're anxiously attached to your parent, you have a tendency to do the same in your relationships. If you develop avoidance, you're most likely being avoidant in your relationships, etc. Right? You can do some tests. You'll find some, if you Google attachment style tests, you'll be able to see which one is your attachment style. But what I know is through therapy and help, we can heal this in being securely attached to God, so that our future relationship with others, they can be secure. So this is so good to know. Like, how can we intervene in something that we're unaware of? So anyway, I just wanted to share this little bit of information. If you have more questions, you can ask me. And hopefully I'll just take the time to share some of this with you, because I find it so good in understanding human development that helps us grow and mature in Christ. So just wanted to say this quick.